Big Ten's back playing football, Coach. We know the week of the first game. Conversation is how long is it going to take to get ready? Conversation is how do you get your team ready with certain things? I think the first thing people talk about is blocking and tackling. How do you get a team ready between now and opening game?
The game now is all about contact. You cannot go out and throw any more curl routes. You've been doing that all summer. You know, you can't run around bags and hoops anymore because that's really not – those are things you do in August. You are now in it. How do you keep a team healthy, yet it's a contact game? So, for example, ball security, is there drills? We used to do this. You have drills where there's impact on all your drills. Every time a young man catches a ball, carries a ball, he's being hit, whether it be a bag or a rod with a pad on it, where you start to, I don't want to sound ruthless here, but you callous their arms a little bit because that's what's going to happen in a game where you're always pulling on the ball. Same thing with a quarterback. Very rarely does he ever drop back in a drill, including on 7-on-7, where something's not hitting him and he's got to take care of the ball. And then the most important people are the offensive and defensive lines. How do you keep people up, yet you stay on your feet because you don't get hurt when you're on your feet, yet you're blocking, moving big people? And you can set up those drills. So every drill from this point forward, in my mind, is all about the contact of the game and making sure. And teaching tackling, we used to tackle every day, not live, but in self-contained tackle drills. And it's as soon as those shoulder pads go on, which I'm understanding are going to be the end of September, it's every day you have to tackle.
I don't know that a lot of people know how much time a staff and a team spend on special teams during camp when you don't have any class, when you can have meetings all day long. A lot of us would install a lot of things in the special teams. We'd find our personnel. To me, that's one of the biggest challenges to get a team ready when special teams between now and the opener. How can coaches close the gap with special teams?
Well, think about what our teams have been doing. All the teams have been doing since COVID hit. In my mind, assignments are done. It's all how do you block big, fast people in special teams? How do you take care of the ball when you're a punt returner and the guy's coming down on you and you got to, you're going to get hit a split second? You have to create those kind of situations without getting people hurt. Every second of the day, in my mind, on the practice field from this point forward it's about the contact of the game. Assignments, you can't have any more meetings. I mean, the point of meetings right now, it's all about watching film of practice and then also the contact phase of the game. That's all the coaches are worried about at this point.
In the NFL, they're not too deep in the offensive line. I think most NFL teams carry 8 offensive linemen. So as a result, if you're not a starter, you better have the ability to play guard and tackle, or maybe guard and center, right tackle, left tackle. Do you think there'll be more cross-training at all positions, anticipating some positive tests and anticipating what will turn out to be maybe more injuries than in a normal season?
Jerry, I think you're right on with this. You brought this up the other day, and I absolutely agree. This is uncharted waters. You could lose 5 people in an instant. That doesn't happen normally. And the rule that we always had is pair and a spare. And a pair and a spare, I mean, your starter, your backup, and then who's the next guy that can go in? Very rarely do you have a third teamer that's good enough to really step in and play. So you would take the backup center, and he'd also be a backup guard. So that'd be your spare. I'm almost saying a pair and a spare plus 1. And I gave that a lot of thought since you brought that up. But I would imagine I actually brought that up to one of my friends in the coaching profession, and they're giving that a lot of thought. So a pair and a spare plus 1. So who would your 4th player be in that situation? Is it going to be a backup tight end that's going to have to know offensive tackle? Because you're on thin ice now. If something, God forbid, happens where you lose a handful of players to COVID, you just can't not play. You have to have some cross training. So I absolutely agree with you on this.